I'm Reverend Dr. Nori Rost. I'm the minister at All Souls Unitarian Universalist Church in Colorado Springs, but I'm here representing myself. Every major faith tradition speaks to the imperative to care for the least among us. For my faith, Unitarian Universalism, this is affirmed by our first principle, the inherent worth and dignity of every human. In an ideal world, we would ensure that every citizen of our state, and indeed in our world, would be guaranteed access to safe, affordable housing and other services that would help us each live the highest quality of life we can. Unfortunately, we don't yet live in such a society. As a result, many folks in our various communities are without homes. A friend of mine in Colorado Springs likened this to people stranded in an airport due to flight delays or cancellations. Maybe there is a storm or mechanical problems. There is no place for these folks to go. They have to rely on the limited use of public restrooms to wash up. And often, if you've been in an airport in such a situation, you know folks lie down. They try to get comfortable. They just need to rest. And yet no one looks askance at them and judges them for lying around, using jackets as pillows and blankets. No one blames them for being forced to hang out or to find the best shelter they can in their limited surroundings. No one assumes these stranded, temporarily homeless people must want to live like this. No one says that we should focus on stopping the storm and getting these people on the plane, but in the meantime, they have to move along. And no one seeks excuses for why it would be okay to tell these hapless travelers just trying to rest that they need to get up and move along or risk having the few possessions they have with them being taken from them. I can't imagine any of us in this room stalking over to an airport cop and demanding that they make these people move. And yet it is not hard to find people who do judge those among us who don't have homes and seek to not only punish our brothers and sisters in these circumstances, but to criminalize their situation. In my home of Colorado Springs, our city council recently voted to do just that by passing a no-sit-lie ordinance that would penalize folks who, just like our sisters and brothers in the airport, are merely trying to find a place to rest. The reality of it is that no matter how secure we think we are, most of us are just one storm away from being stranded at BIA and one trauma away from finding ourselves without adequate housing. And hopefully the storms will clear and we can provide more comprehensive services to help alleviate homelessness. Certainly no one is advocating we stop working on issuing hotel vouchers or increasing resources. But until then, the people need to realize that they can rest without fear of being penalized. We can do better than this. And House Bill 1191 is a step in the right direction. Hear me when I say it's not the only thing we're called to do as decent human beings. We must continue to work to create a society in which all people have access to safe housing. But until we reach that day, let us acknowledge that at the very least, all people, whether they're in an airport or in a city street, have a right to rest. I strongly support House Bill 1191 and urge you to do so as well.
Thank you.
Some of the homeless feel traumatized when they're criminalized. In your experience, how is a person traumatized by this behavior of being homeless, essentially, and they're being criminalized? How does that traumatize them as a human being?
Thank you. Well, it certainly continues to erode their sense of self-esteem. Take the very simple example of being without a job. If any of you have ever been unemployed for a series of time, a long period of time, and you don't get callbacks, or you go to interviews and you don't get a job, you may remember how you just don't even feel like looking for a job after a while. It's demoralizing. So to tell people who are currently without homes that just to be able to rest is a criminal act, it's demoralizing, and it increases the trauma that they already have.
Thank you. Further questions? Would you like to add? Please.
Just to add, I'm thinking about the very first gentleman who spoke today who said he has to sleep with one eye open. I call that traumatic. And one thing that, I heard when I did my research from folks is this state of being called survival mode, where you don't know where your next meal is going to come from. You don't know where you're going to sleep tonight. You can't really sleep. And surviving day to day to day with your basic needs not being met, I would call that trauma.
Thank you for your testimony today.